Okay, let's just cut right to it. Your mind is being poisoned. Seriously. This constant barrage of bitter information you're taking in every single day, it is literally ruining your mental vegetation. So in this explainer, we're going to do a complete overhaul. We're talking a full-blown wormwood detox to reclaim your attention and finally ditch that background anxiety for good. I mean, think about it for a second. Is your mind being poisoned by all this bitter content? We are constantly absorbing a digital feed that is perfectly engineered to hijack our brains. It's just this endless stream of doom and gloom, and frankly, it's making us sick, anxious, and completely exhausted right now. To really wrap our heads around this, we're borrowing some incredibly stark apocalyptic imagery from the Book of Revelation. It talks about a star called bitterness, or wormwood, falling from the sky, poisoning the waters, and ruining vegetation. It perfectly illustrates what happens when toxic, bitter content crashes into the ecosystem of your mind. Today, that toxic star isn't falling from the sky. Nope, it's glowing right in the palm of your hand, poisoning your internal clarity with a nonstop stream of manufactured panic. So, how exactly does this poison work? Well, let's look at the science. It all comes down to your dopamine baseline. Basically, short-form videos completely hijack and blow out your natural dopamine levels. Dopamine is that feel-good chemical that floods your brain when you experience pleasure. But when every single swipe gives you a joke, a dance, or some crazy shocking fact in literally 2 seconds, your brain is essentially mainlining pure concentrated dopamine. It's way too much. And you can see the fallout of this everywhere. It perfectly explains the pathology of our modern brains. Think about it. We can scroll endlessly, zero effort, for 3 hours straight, right? But the second we try to focus on a single textbook page for 15 minutes, it's agonizing. Why? Because our dopamine threshold is completely out of whack. Hard work, reading, deep focus, they actually demand effort before they give you a reward. The payoff is slow, and it feels miles away compared to the instant hit you get from your social media feed. But here's the thing. It's not just the speed of the content we're consuming, it's the actual message. We actively seek out stuff that validates our absolute worst habits. We kind of want to believe our struggles are uniquely impossible to overcome. So, what do? We watch endless videos of other people making excuses, and suddenly our own lack of effort, well, it suddenly feels completely justified. We fall right into what I call the relatable trap. This is where consuming content about failure makes your own self-sabotage feel perfectly normal. It's wild, right? Turns out, misery doesn't just love company, it really loves the algorithm. When we constantly consume this bitter media, we convince ourselves that our lack of effort is just, part of the human condition. We are effectively letting that poison settle deep into our system. We stop trying, and we just start accepting a much lower standard for our own lives. Physiologically, all this bitter information forces your brain into a perpetual state of fear and agitation. It literally tricks your nervous system into believing you're in constant physical danger. Your brain operates on basic survival instincts, so when you bombard it with doom scrolling, it perceives scarcity, it perceives a threat. Boom, it turns on your sympathetic nervous system, that fight, flight, or freeze response, and pumps your body full of cortisol and adrenaline to prep you for a disaster that's only actually happening on your screen. Remember those apocalyptic visions we started with? Just like the eagle's screaming warnings of terror in the Book of Revelation, your anxiety, those racing thoughts you get at night, that's your brain screaming at you. Why? Because it hasn't had a single second to process the daily barrage of terrors. Because we distract ourselves with screens every waking moment, your brain has to wait until your head hits the pillow to force a mandatory software update on all those unprocessed worries. It is brutal. Okay, so how do we fix it? Let's talk about the cure. Because unfortunately, we can't just wish the poison away. We have to aggressively starve our hijacked dopamine system. You cannot slowly taper off a system that is this entirely out of balance. You have to take back control with a very specific, deliberate, and frankly, pretty uncomfortable intervention. Enter your new daily detox protocol, the 15-minute boredom challenge. Here's what you do. Step 1, put away all your devices. Step 2, sit and stare at a wall. Step 3, just let your mind wander and settle. It is a mini dopamine fast where you spend 15 excruciating minutes completely alone with your thoughts to manually lower your dopamine baseline. No music, no podcasts, no phone, just you and a wall. Yes, literally staring at a blank wall. And honestly, at first, it's gonna feel like absolute medieval torture. Your brain is gonna scream. It will actively scream for its usual feast of concentrated dopamine. But let it scream. That deep discomfort means the withdrawal is actually working. And here's the crazy part. After just a week of doing this, something remarkable happens. Your baseline genuinely lowers. Your starved brain finally becomes deeply grateful for the smaller, simpler meals of everyday life. Once you've successfully lowered that baseline, you can't just leave the gates open. You have to actively curate your reality using what we'll call the sword of truth. This is another super powerful image from our apocalyptic text. It represents having ultimate, decisive authority over what you let into your life. You have to confidently and powerfully defend this newly lowered dopamine baseline of yours. You've got to use that sword to ruthlessly split your feed. You are separating the digital weeds, the stuff that rots your attention with fear, from the wheat, the content that genuinely inspires and fuels you. Stop following accounts that make you feel inadequate, fearful, or comfortable in your own laziness. Seriously, just open your app and unfollow them right now. Start curating content that feeds your brain's natural hunger for genuine knowledge. It's a total game changer. Now, a quick heads up. As you do this detox, your anxiety might temporarily spike. It happens. To help your body survive this intense separation period, use the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding method. It sends a direct message of safety back to your brain. So you can't always just think yourself calm. You have to use your physical senses. Name 5 things you see, 4 you can touch, 3 you hear, 2 you smell, and 1 emotion you're feeling right now. It anchors you in the present moment, which, let's be real, 9 times out of 10 is completely safe. And to stop those nighttime terrors we talked about earlier, you need daily mental housekeeping. You have to process your thoughts during the day so they don't hijack your sleep. By intentionally doing this housekeeping, like actually scheduling time to worry while the sun is still up, you prove to your brain that it doesn't need to panic at bedtime. So write down a brain dump to-do list at 5 p.m. Process your thoughts on a quiet walk. Just give your brain the time it actually needs to file its memories away before you try to sleep. All right, now we transition from defense to offense by changing exactly how we view our tasks. We're shifting from miserable obligation, studying or working with absolute dread, to genuine curious intention. And guess what? Approaching your housekeeping tasks with genuine curiosity instead of dread actually releases dopamine to reward hard work. Your brain literally processes it differently, and you begin associating hard effort with actual pleasure. This tiny shift in mindset, it completely turns off your fight or flight response. It allows the parasympathetic nervous system to step in and finally wash away all that lingering anxiety. You're no longer acting out of a fear of scarcity. Instead, you're operating from a place of abundance and gratitude. You start noticing the small good things around you, which restores a total rest and digest state of peace to your body. And hey, if that panic ever tries to sneak back in right before a big moment, remember this. Fear and excitement are the exact same physical state in the body. Literally the same. So use a simple 5-second countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, to reframe that nervous energy into pure enthusiasm. Your heart racing, your palms sweating, that's just arousal. By counting backwards, you wake up your prefrontal cortex, interrupt that fear loop, and you can consciously tell yourself, wait, I'm not afraid, I'm actually excited. Which brings us to the resolution of our whole allegorical detox. This represents the beautiful, calm mental state you achieve when you finally take back control of your attention. Just as those terrifying visions of the apocalypse eventually give way to a harmonious new world where mourning and pain no longer dictate your day, your mind can absolutely be wiped clean of its digital anxiety. You have effectively survived the apocalypse in your own mind. You're moving from a landscape of bitter poison to a serene world of fresh, crystal water. Think about what you've accomplished here. You've repaired your dopamine baseline, you've grounded your nervous system, and you've successfully swapped out mindless doom scrolling for intentional, rewarding focus. So the choice is entirely yours to make. Step away from the scroll. Seriously, put the phone down, embrace the boredom, and just watch your reality transform. Will you flush out the bitter doom and gloom today and finally reclaim the clarity of a fresh, focused mind?